So you know that awkward moment when you're recording a video and suddenly your mind goes blank.
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Be good just to hold them down by your side. Yeah, great.
Yeah, well, that used to be me every single time I was recording. But after 15 years in professional theater and film and even some commercials under my belt, you would think that getting in front of a camera would be easy. But here's the thing. I actually bombed my first major video presentation, like this one, so badly that the client actually asked if I was feeling okay. Not exactly what you want to have happen. But through teaming up with brands like Microsoft and Sony and Unilever, I've actually discovered what keeps viewers watching organically. And no, it's not about having all this perfect lighting or the most expensive camera. It's not about that. Though my old acting headshots would probably disagree. And I think I'll have the editor show that, yep, there we are, my old acting headshots. But in the next few minutes, I'm sharing what I have learned about presentation techniques here on video that transform awkward video presenters into confident on-camera personalities and actually increase conversions for your business. These are the strategies that I have learned working alongside some of the most notable marketing teams and CEOs who are also using right now to build their trust with their audience. And the best part is that you can start using these right away, even if you're still recording videos on your iPhone. I think I have it here, just on your iPhone. So let's dive into the 5 essential tips that will have your viewers hooked faster than you can say, like and subscribe. This is the first video, so like and subscribe, please. But before we dive into these game-changing tips here, let me ask you something. Have you ever watched a video where the presenter seemed so natural and so engaging that you just couldn't stop watching? You were absolutely hooked. It was like those rare videos where you actually forget to check how much time is left. Well, I'm about to show you exactly how to create that same effect in your own videos. And trust me, it is not what most people think. All right, and tip 1 is called the 15-second opener. So when I was performing in a Broadway show, I did a tour of a Broadway show called American Idiot. If any of you know Broadway, any Broadway fans, smash the like button, but smash subscribe if you know about the rock opera musical by Green Day. It was such a cool show, really cool to be a part of, but we actually had something right in the opening of the show. It was called the curtain up moment, right? And I'll get the editors to show a clip of that actual moment. It was the first split seconds of the show when the curtain started rising. And there was TVs of news outlets from 2001. It was just a really cool opening. All of the characters were on stage and they were frozen. It absolutely set the tone of the show. And the audience immediately felt like they were back in USA 2001. And so if we didn't capture the audience right there, then we'd spend the rest of the show trying to win them back, trying to convince them that the show is in fact awesome. Your problem statement is your curtain up moment. Instead of saying, our software helps improve productivity, you hit them with, is your team drowning in meetings that could have been emails? You see how instantly that resonates? Now for your credibility bridge, you gotta think of it like a movie trailer. You just need that one powerful shot that tells the audience that this whole thing is worth your time. And when I actually went from moving boxes in Sydney, I was in a logistics company, and then I went to landing major tech clients using this, I learned that one specific result beats a long list of achievements every single time. Your promise is like the climax of a really great film. You gotta make it specific and you have to make it compelling. So don't just promise better results. You gotta promise 50% fewer meetings in 30 days or your money back. That's the hook. That's that 15-second intro. All right. Tip number 2 is called the energy match. All right. Let me share something that I discovered while I was batch recording video content for a few tech companies. When you're creating multiple videos per day, you quickly learn the difference between sustainable energy and what I like to call forced enthusiasm. I think you know what I'm talking about. And here's the thing, audience can actually tell the difference. They can tell when you're being unreal, when you're not being authentic in your delivery or your speech, when you're actually having a conversation with them through the video content. And that's when I discovered that what I now like to call sustainable energy matching. It's like a long distance runner who paces themselves for a marathon. You just need to find your baseline first, and you can think of that as your all-day energy level. And I see too many people trying to match Gary Vee's energy or copying some other influencer's style. But here's what's fascinating is when I work with CEOs, we actually find more success by taking their natural energy, the ones that they are naturally building, and just dialing it up slightly. It's just like turning up the volume of your favorite song. You don't want to blast it, you just want to enhance it slightly. So let me give you a perfect example of that. When I'm creating educational content, I use what I call the 110% rule. So I'm going to use just 10% more energy than my natural speaking voice. So right now, this is actually my natural speaking voice when I'm chatting with people and having a conversation. That's kind of my normal voice. I'm just kicking it up ever so slightly on 10%. So for product demos, that goes up to 115%. But for serious company announcements, we're going to actually dial it back to 95% with added intensity. All right. So there's a fluctuation of the amount of energy that you're bringing to it. It's all about matching the energy to the video or message that you are sending. And tip number 3 is called the pattern interrupt. So you know that feeling when you're watching Netflix and then suddenly you realize that you've been staring at your phone for the last 5 minutes of the show? That is what happens when your brain goes on autopilot. And it's exactly what we want to avoid in our videos. Now, I learned this lesson while recording video tutorials for a major client. After watching the analytics, we noticed something pretty fascinating. The viewer drop off consistently happened around the 30-second mark if nothing in the video changed. And that's when I developed what I call the 30-second rule. So you got to think of your videos like a Netflix series. Every 30 seconds, you need your equivalent of a scene change, right? And this doesn't happen for all video content. For example, ads are a lot shorter. Ads are very snappy. You have to keep that dopamine levels up. When it comes to educational content, 30 seconds is a good idea to elaborate on a thought and then change it up. And here's the thing, it actually doesn't have to be dramatic. Even something as simple as changing your hand position or shifting your tone can work wonders. And I actually learned this the hard way during my first major corporate video. I stood completely still for 3 minutes straight talking about financial data. And in fact, you'll see a lot of spokespeople who have this really unique kind of stance here. This is the very corporate one. A lot of news people do it as well. It's very corporate and it's very, gesturing, and it feels very drawl. Feel free to loosen it up, right? You gotta get some movement going. And so the client's feedback, it was like watching paint dry. It was that exciting. Now I use what I call the movement hierarchy. So small gestures for emphasis, weight shifts for transitions, and then full position changes for major points, right? But here's the real secret. It's not just about physical movement. Your voice needs to dance too. So you got to think of it like a good DJ set, right? You're mixing high energy moments with quieter sections. And it's creating a rhythm that keeps your audience engaged. Sometimes you got to really loop into the high stuff, but then you need to bring it back and tell them the educational moments, the stuff that'll make them lean in to hear. So you're fluctuating with tone there. All right, tip number 4 is called the curiosity loop. So do you remember at the beginning of this video when I mentioned about a story and I said, trust me, it's not what most people think. That is what we call a curiosity loop. And you've been waiting for the resolution this whole time. I know you've been sitting on it. What is it? And that's exactly how we want your viewers to feel. And during my time creating video content for SaaS companies, I noticed something interesting. Videos that structured information like a well-written mystery novel consistently outperformed straightforward tutorials. Now, why is that? Because our brains are wired to seek closure. So you got to think about your favorite true crime podcasts. They don't actually give you all the information right at once. They layer it, creating what I call the primary and secondary loop system. Your primary loop is like the season's main mystery. It's what you open up with and it keeps the viewers watching till the very end. For example, when I'm creating product demos, I might open with the one feature that made our clients fire their entire email marketing team. Now that is a loop that demands closure. But when you layer in these secondary loops, those are smaller mysteries and revelations that keep them engaged along the way. It's like those meanwhile scenes in your favorite show that just keep you hooked through the commercial break. But here's the key, and this is where most people mess up. You have to close these loops. Nothing frustrates viewers more than an unresolved promise, unless you're intentionally leaving one thread open for your next video. And tip number 5 is called the authentic close. So let me share something I discovered after analyzing hundreds of VSLs, or video sales letters, for tech companies. The most successful closings didn't just summarize, they actually painted a picture of transformation. So I call this the mirror close technique because it shows viewers their own potential future. Think of it like the before and after reveal in those home renovation shows. But instead of a new kitchen, you're showing them their improved business, career, or skills. Start that with the echo effect. You gotta briefly reflect back what they've learned, but frame it in terms of what it means for them. For example, instead of saying, we covered 5 presentation tips, you gotta say, you now have 5 proven techniques that can transform your next video presentation. Then comes the action bridge. Now, this is where we connect their current situation to the desired outcome. It's very similar to Amazon's one-click purchase button. You want to make the path to success feel immediate, and you want to make it feel achievable. And finally, the value stack. It isn't just about listing benefits, it's about creating excitement for what comes next. It's like how Marvel movies use post-credit scenes to keep you excited for their next film. I'm not sure if you've seen any of the Marvel films, but they are super exciting. They're right at the end of the trailer credits. It's such a great spoiler for hinting at those next films or next characters to be released, and it is awesome. And speaking of what comes next, here is what fascinates me about these 5 techniques, all right? They work whether you're creating a quick product demo or delivering a major company announcement. I've seen them transform nervous CEOs, right? People that just had no business being on video, into confident presenters and can communicate with their staff and their clients effectively. It's turned standard company updates into must-watch content. And speaking of transformation, next week I'm going to share something special. I'm breaking down how just one SaaS company used these exact techniques to turn their CEO into their best marketing asset, still giving them the time and energy to produce video content only for about 4 hours per week, and then still be in the job. And this led to a 7x increase in demo bookings. And plus, I'll show you my complete video presentation template that's generated over $500,000 for tech companies. Or if you're someone who gets nervous on camera, don't worry, I've got a full video coming about my 5-year journey moving from moving boxes to becoming a video presenter. So this includes all the techniques that helped me build confidence on camera. So hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss these upcoming videos. And if you are a CEO or part of a business where you need a video presenter, or you would like help on becoming your own video presenter, you can reach out to me directly using Calendly. I have my link in the description below and in the first pinned comment. This is my direct link call, so we can hop on any call to discuss any questions that you might have around content, presenting, or anything else around using video for your business growth. So until then, remember, you are just one video away from changing how your audience sees you. We'll see you next time.